The president should be impeached. His actions were an abuse of power that jeopardized America's national security and compromised our elections. No one is above the law, and that includes the president. By withholding almost $400 million Ukraine desperately needed to defend itself against Russia until Ukraine did the president's political bidding, the president committed high crimes and misdemeanors for which he should be impeached under Article 1, Section 2, Clause 5, and Article 2, Section 4 of the Constitution of the United States of America. This abuse of power is compounded by the president's refusal to cooperate with Congress's impeachment investigation and his stonewalling of witnesses from testifying or turning over documents to Congress. Almost 14,000 people have been killed since Russia invaded Ukraine. Withholding $400 million that Congress appropriated to help Ukraine defend itself unless Ukraine helped the president dig up dirt on his political rival Joe Biden was the last straw for me. People's lives and our national security were placed at risk. This was more than hush money for strippers or profiting from foreign governments, staying at resort properties, or even obstructing justice, as laid out in the Mueller report. The founders fought and died for freedom and independence from a tyrannical ruler and a foreign government. Impeachment and removal from office was the remedy they included in the Constitution to act as a check on a president who placed himself above the law, abused his power for his own personal benefit, and invited foreign governments to get involved in our domestic affairs, especially our elections. A president who flaunts the separation of powers and checks and balances in our Constitution and who refuses to allow witnesses to appear before Congress would receive our founders' universal condemnation. Treating taxpayer money as his own to extort a, quote, favor from a foreign government to aid him in his reelection goes to the very heart of concerns raised by our nation's founders when they drafted and advocated for impeachment to act as a check on the awesome powers of the chief executive. For instance, Madison said in Federalist 47, quote, the accumulation of all powers, legislative, executive, and judiciary, in the same hands may justly be pronounced the very definition of tyranny. He went on to say during the Constitutional Convention, quote, the executive will have great opportunities of abusing his power. And further, that a president, quote, might betray his trust to foreign powers. George Washington's farewell address warned of foreign influence and corruption, which leads to the, quote, policy and will, close quote, of America being subjected to the policy and will of another. Alexander Hamilton wrote in Federalist 65 that impeachment, quote, proceeds from the misconduct of public men, from the abuse or violation of a public trust. Following in that, the USA Today editorial board stated it perfectly when they wrote in their December 12, 2019 editorial, quote, in his thuggish effort to trade American arms for foreign dirt on former Vice President Joe Biden and his son Hunter, Trump resembles not so much Clinton as he does Richard Nixon, another corrupt president who tried to cheat his way to re-election. This isn't party politics as usual, they go on to say. It is precisely the misconduct the framers had in mind when they wrote impeachment into the Constitution. Close quote. Impeachment is the remedy the founders placed in the Constitution to remove a president during his or her term of office. This is especially true when the misconduct involves an upcoming election. The president invited foreign participation in our election at least 3 times. First with, quote, Russia, if you're listening, close quote. Second, with his demands on Ukraine to, quote, do us a favor, close quote. And third, with his request for China to get involved in the 2020 election by starting, quote, an investigation into the Bidens, close quote. Any further delay or simply allowing the election cycle to run its course results in the harm and abuse impeachment was designed to prevent. For the sake of the Constitution, fair elections free of foreign interference, and our national security, President Trump should be impeached.